Hello, Connor. Yeah, it's Tino here. Great
Hello.
to have this conversation. Now that we have come to the end of the year, welcome to the World Diabetes Day 2023, where we are sharing our summary, or should we say our key learnings during 2023 podcast when we were using the Diabetic Mogul podcast. It was so great.
First of all, I would like to say that World Diabetes Day means so much to people living with diabetes because it's a day about representation, about advocacy, about speaking up about invisible diseases because diabetes is an almost invisible disease. Now we're becoming a bit more visible to the devices we're wearing, but they're not quite visible, so you cannot easily tell if someone has diabetes. It's a day to speak about the stigma, those average 180 extra daily decisions we made, but we made them silently. People did not notice what's going on in our minds while we were doing other things, working, having fun, or whatever.
Now that you mentioned about how relevant World Diabetes Day is, I think globally, the status from what I just learned and also trying to cover the relevance of our topic, we can say that the status of diabetes is unique. We have our own challenge in our own different countries with other people that have hosted. This is all that they've been sharing. Through our steadfastness, we can help change the said narrative. Insulin for all still remains a global movement because not so many people can
I
afford
have
it.
it in
Maybe
my
say,
t-shirt.
as it is, we know that like maybe more than 50% cannot afford or to get access to the insulin that they need. So we still need to continue doing our advocacy. And today, as World Diabetes Day, we are commemorating the birth of Sir Frederick. So it means so much. Thought maybe we could share maybe our key learnings from all the guests we have heard in 2020. As our health system, I know like our health systems are quite unique. I cannot just say I want to move from Zimbabwe to Greece. I need to first research what is there in Greece. So, but I think maybe people that have been always watching our audience, I think we have had so many guests from different countries. They can go and watch those previous episodes that we have done because we also try to cover this other time. What is the healthcare system like? We need to have a research. You cannot just show up in a different country. Things are unique and you might not be covered by things that will be given to citizens. So, and I think you also said that in this, you have these diabetes covered. If you can share with us, like what specifically is covered.
I think I said it also in a previous podcast that we cannot talk about treatment if we don't have access. I mean, there are therapies, there are options, but the number of people who can privilege from the options are so limited. It's scary if you think about the numbers. 50% of people globally do not have access to insulin. In Greece, access to insulin is insured, but access to more advanced technologies is not insured. So as a diabetic, you are safe enough in Greece, but you have to have an insurance in order to have an insulin pump or go for a CGM. But if you don't have any insurance, you still can get your insulin and your test strips. So it's not ideal, but it's good enough for people living
Wow.
with diabetes.
Wow, this is amazing. We usually talk of the diabetes community. People think maybe the diabetes community only has people living with diabetes, but we know, like from our podcast, we have heard caregivers and also people living with diabetes. We also have researchers, we have healthcare professionals, and but we know peer support. We have always been talking about the importance of peer support, a way it is free from judgment, but only encouragement and inspiration. People don't judge each other to say, hey, I've not been even changing my lancers. I don't change them often. I can repeat my syringes.
Think about the Lancet is a shared secret between diabetics.
Definitely. We learned that we have to find our own tribe and love them hard. Some of the experiences, some of the things we'll go through because diabetes is quite individualized, even the treatment itself. Speaking with you, I mean, because you're also a medical doctor, you know that the treatment is quite individualized, but in a community, people can share their experiences and then we can learn. And we know that like some phases in life, we don't have to go through them on our own, but so we can actually find encouragement and how people have overcome them, which is a great thing for us.
I agree. When we started the podcast, I remember almost a year ago or some months ago, 10 months ago, time flies.
I think it's a year.
Yeah, we wanted to create a safe environment to hear different opinions and point of views because diabetes is not just one condition. We had so many guests and we got into depth about how each person perceives and manages their diabetes reality. And that's what I enjoyed so much, this open dialogue, because not every opinion should be right or wrong or should be agreed by everybody, but it is an opinion. So that's what I think we managed to do. Here's so many different points of view globally. This podcast, I think, gave not only us as hosts, but also for our guests an opportunity to connect, to deeply connect. I think diabetes may be a really stressful and difficult condition, but if we think about the people that we have met and how we connect together, that brings such a positive impact in our lives. And personally, every time I closed a session, I felt so much motivated because I felt like I just connected and have a deep conversation with a person I nearly don't know, but I have so much in common that I can instantly connect and have a feeling that I feel understood and I also understand what they're talking about. We tried. I don't think if we managed to break that loneliness feeling that people with diabetes may experience because we brought so many people to talk about it. Healthcare professionals, healthcare givers, people living with diabetes, people living with diabetes in the field of advocacy, people living with diabetes in the medical field. So yeah, I think we did a great job. Our audience may not be huge, but I still see that we have an impact.
I cannot even add anything to it. So maybe I would just say this. We need to acknowledge that diabetes has taught us to be responsible. It has opened many windows of opportunity to collaborate and to network with different people, not just people in our own sector, not just people living with diabetes, but healthcare professionals. Because so many opportunities will be shared during our podcast. So we are also sort of like covering like the global landscape to say, define what is out globally, what is relevant, put it all together so that people can easily get these things, these tools that they need. So I think it was just amazing because we've been able to network with so many people. And everybody that we have hosted, they will keep on watching, they will keep on resharing some of the stuff that we're doing. I think it's a good thing, even for people to find motivation, not just for people living with diabetes. Kona has shared this about she has overcome this, how she has overcome that. Even healthcare professionals, if they listen to this, they'll be able to see from legendary experts in the diabetes world who are doing amazing things, creating impacts, which is a great. If we need to remain relevant, we need to research, we need to network with other people and appreciate the work that other people are doing so that we don't have to repeat the efforts that have already been done, but maybe try to say, okay, fine, how best can I move forward? How best can I approach use such and such an approach? So I think these networks made us create and network with so many people, which is really great, I think.
And also diabetes has taught us that life isn't about what is happening to you, it's about what you do about it. Like we all have diabetes, so many people have diabetes. We have, and not in a precious way. We should do something about it that makes us feel that we are in peace with the disease. I cannot help mention it. Dr. Chantal Mathieu told us is like we have to make diabetes part of our life. We should not fight diabetes. And that's, I think, the key message that I keep when I'm struggling or when I have really bad days with diabetes, that it's part of my life. It's like I want to get rid of my nose. I cannot get rid of my nose. I cannot get rid of my diabetes. So it's part of me. It's so core to my personality.
You know what? I had this note, I had this quote written. I wanted to mention it. Diabetes is like a little devil on your shoulder. So you need to find ways for it to fit in your life. Don't fight it, don't, because you do not get rid of it. However, I think some of the that I've learned so far, progress has been made in terms of like finding diabetes agents or immunotherapy that can delay the onset of diabetes. However, the challenge is that these things cannot really be accessible by everybody, just like insulin. I mean, if insulin cannot be accessible and how cheap people might see it is, but for these agents, for these immunotherapies, for people to afford them. Not only in the developed countries where people struggle to afford them, but it's super expensive. But I'm hoping that maybe more options will be available to people so that the onset of type 1 diabetes can be delayed. Because they say that if one person in the family has type 1 diabetes, the rest of the family or other people or your siblings, they have 10% chances of getting diabetes. But as it says, this one thing that I just wanted to, we do not have a cure for type 1 diabetes. Insulin is just
Therapy.
until, yeah, it's just a therapy that we need to take, continue to keep. People should just keep calm and take insulin. Yeah. So I think that's just what I had.
I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this podcast. I still remember messaging you about having a session to meet each other. It's been such a journey, and I think you can make the next announcement.
A huge thanks to you. A huge thanks to you for everything, everything. This wouldn't have been this successful if it hadn't been for you. And I remember when you approached me when I started this thing as a solo, you said, hey, would it be possible if we conduct like maybe a number of sessions? And then I said, okay, fine. I think we need to collaborate because for anything, collaboration is key. It is very important. want so that we have diversity, and that you are a person living with diabetes, and so as I am. I'm also a person living with diabetes, and you are, and also you're a medical professional. So this is just great. So I think trying to make this announcement that maybe the Diabetic Mogul and the title, it felt as if it was sort of like an individualist, because it was my title. Even on all across social media platforms, I use their title. But now it is a singular honor to announce that from 2024 onwards, we will be using Global Diabetes Insights, not the Diabetic Mogul anymore, but everything will remain the same, but it's just the change of title. But of course, we'll keep hosting healthcare professionals, people living with diabetes, researchers, and yes, we welcome collaborations and so many opportunities. And if you have options to say, hey, I think you need to tackle this topic, please don't feel shy. Just let us know. We'll be using other platforms like Spotify.
We want to wish everybody Happy Diabetes Day. Do not feel ashamed of your diabetes. Be proud about keeping balance in your life while having diabetes. And even if you're in a dark place with the disease, it's still okay. It's a roller coaster. There's no stability in this diabetic life. We know that. Yeah, to everyone out there who is struggling or need anything, support, or even to be heard, he or she can approach us. We're both open. Yeah, let's celebrate this day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is so exciting. So yeah, cheers to more collaborations with the Global Diabetes Insights renaming. So let's see what the future holds. We are hopeful. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hoping for the very best in 2024 onwards. Thank you.